Hello, hello, hello. Hi, welcome. I am Sylvia Hayes, and you are watching Good News at Primetime. We have a good topic today, and I think you're going to enjoy it. Some of the men may be offended and may be a little defensive, but I think the topic is good and it needs to be addressed. Also, we have election going on right now. So early voting, it is so important. If you know that you won't be able to go vote, go do it early. I did mine last week because I knew that I wasn't going to be able to vote this week. So I went last week and voted. So I want you to do the same thing. Go vote. If you can't do it this week, go on election day because it's so important to elect the person to represent you. There are so many issues right now, especially pertaining to the woman's body, that needs to be addressed. You need people in office who will represent you and according to your values and views. Okay, you need people to represent you, not just somebody in office who's going to throw out any kind of rules and regulation to fit their narrative, whatever they want done, to put money in their pockets. You don't want that. You need proper representation. So you put people in office who will represent you. So today our topic is, what is a woman? What is a woman? I was reading an article this week, and I saw, well, actually it was last week, and I saw where this lady who was in the military had gotten raped by some of the military people, and they didn't want to go through it, though, prosecute and all that kind of stuff, because it would tarnish the military's image. So they put in this woman's life, her feelings, and behind the tarnished military. That's crap. That's the way I look at it. So many times things they push stuff aside. Woman can't be raped by a husband because that's the husband. Yes, they can. And if the wife say no, that means no. And the husband don't have no right to force himself on him, whether he's married to her or not. So we have issues. Women have issues. What is a woman? And what do they stand for? What do they mean? Okay, so we're going to talk about that. Let me bring on my co-host, Mr. Reggie Drummer. Hi, Reggie. How you doing?
Doing great there, Miss Sylvia. And shout out to all the women out there. We couldn't get here without you all.
Right. Yeah, you definitely couldn't do it. We are the vessel. And people need to realize that we are the reason you are here. So why are you controlling us? We make the world go round. We populate the world. Of course, you're going to have these people who say, a man had something to do with it. Yeah, but it's women who incubate the babies and carry them to full term or whatever term God see fit, for them to come alive. So it's we got a topic here.
That's gonna
We have
be good.
a topic.
And you know,
Yep.
every woman carries the seed of, because whoever's all the eggs she'll ever need, she's born with.
Mm-hmm.
So if when you look at women as a whole, that means that uh you was inside of your grandmama, great
Yeah.
grandmama, ancestors all the way up. Uh and when we look at it and we start to think of it like that, you got a different respect level for women. And I know we live in a society now where women, women get a lot of bashing. People get upset with women because they rising to the top. They get upset with women because uh, they are moving forward with or without men, and with the deck being stacked. And especially it's a double edged sword for the black woman here in America.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. And my issue, not only rape, but men forcing women to have babies that they don't want to have. And see, the thing is, men can go out there and have all the babies they want. Nothing is done to them. But let a woman have a baby and get aborted, she's bad. You know, let her get pregnant. You know, she's bad. She's labeled already just for getting pregnant, especially if unwedded, but a man unwedded, whether he's married or not, he go have baby on 10, 15, 20 women. He's cool.
Right.
But let a woman
Hey,
have two babies by two different men. You know,
yeah.
she's dog meat.
Hey. I always remember, and this is a quote from Bill Cosby. He said, if men had to have babies, abortion would be the law.
Mm-hmm. Yep, they
And this was
would.
back in the 70s. Uh, but, men, and being a male, but I understand, and you brought up something, there's a movie that came out a couple of years ago called The General's Daughter. It was about a woman
Mm-hmm.
that was raped. She was actually the general's daughter, and the only reason they took the investigation to a higher level was because they had raped the general's daughter. And I think they killed her. They tried to cover it was a movie, but they covered it up.
Mm. Yeah, that's the only way. And the thing is, men get away with so much, and they'll say that women are no, they ask for it. A woman can dress up nice, looking good for herself, looking good for herself, and a man take it as a sign that says, "Rape me, rape me."
Mm,
No, and they'll say she asked for it. Look how she's dressed. Maybe that's the way it makes her feel. And you don't go around raping men when they have their pants hanging down their butt, below their
right.
butt. And that to me, that's an invitation. Come and take me. Well, who's attacking the men? Well, let a woman dress nice to make herself feel
Unless
good.
they in prison, now that's another story. But I thought about it, and just saw. I remember John Travolta was the lead actor in that movie, and it was about
Uh-huh.
a woman that was raped, the general's daughter in a base, and they had to be in Georgia. But when you think about women and the different issues, and for some reason men believe that, and this goes back to all the holy books. A lot of the holy books agree that about somewhere Adam and Eve, and they say that Eve made everything go bad. So they
Mm-hmm.
started to fault the woman for so much. But in other cultures, the woman is held at a higher level. She is considered the goddess, or well, not just goddess, the god of the universe. Okay, the entry point for all human beings. And when you look at it from that direction, the narrative becomes more male dominant throughout history because males had to make it appear that they were in charge. So a byproduct of that is what we have now. They say males believe they control the actions and efforts of women. You know, when you look at a lot of the shows that we grew up on, they show, and this is the white woman. They either did not show her at all. You look at a lot of westerns, the white woman did not appear. Movies like Bonanza, Rifleman, Rifleman, there were no women. Those guys raised their sons on their own. The woman got killed early. Then you started looking at shows where they started to show Father Knows Best. The woman was at home. She was either being like Hazel or the little lady that stayed in the house, and she took care of the cooking, the cleaning, and all that type of stuff, while the man went out and made the bacon, brought the money home. Her decision was only on what needed to be cooked. And he could change that as a man because he said, well, I just don't feel like chicken tonight, dear. We want ham. And she had to go and do what he wanted to say. So until I think the 70s, when women started to do a lot of women started burning their bras and things like that and assert themselves and put themselves in position to say, I don't want to do that. I don't want to be a part of that. That's when we had a little friction between the men and the women. And then even within different cultures, women are starting to, push forward as equal beings. They just wanted to keep them barefoot and pregnant.
Yep, they do. And the thing is, a lot of men, they think just because they get married, they're in control of the woman. This is my property. What I want you to do is cook and clean house. Some women, they're married, they go to work, they come home, they cook, and they clean house, wash clothes on the weekend. And what do the man do? Go to work, come home, what's for dinner? You have to, not only that, if they have kids, she's the one who's raising the kids, getting them ready for school. And the men sometimes will help them with the homework, but it's a man thing. To me, that's not a marriage, that's servantship. The woman is being a servant to this man who's supposed to be her husband, who's supposed to be equal partners. No, that's not the way it is. And then, like, if she too tired to lay with him, have sex with him, he's forcing himself on her. That's rape. If she say, I don't want to, I'm too tired, he should let that be. But no, you're my property, you're my wife, do your wifely duty. So who said that that's a wifely duty?
Right.
You're getting married because you love each other and you care for each other. So if you care for this person and you care for their feelings, you're going to act accordingly. But this is a selfish thing, about them. And like some men, they don't want their wives to go work, stay at home and take care of the kids. There some women, they give up their jobs, their dreams, their goals, stop going to school to put this man through school, so he can become something, because he's going to be the breadwinner. He get out, make all the money, do everything he want to do, find him a mistress, decide he don't want that wife anymore, and dump her. I've seen that done. The woman give up her whole life for this man, and he dumps her when he find a younger woman.
Well, and I might as well just throw this in there, since we talk about women and the relationships between men and women. His brother, he just died, Kevin Samuel, and many others that were redefining the roles of women. They were really, in a way, trying to show and teach women what they needed to do to attract a better man. And I actually saw some footage where women was doing the same thing, teaching men what they needed to do to attract a better woman. One of the things that's happening now, because we all, not everybody's coming at the same level, but women and men are looking for an equal voice. At one point, believe it or not, women, if it and this is their religion based on, they would not even consider they could go into heaven unless they had a man. The husband had to be the cover for her. And you look at a lot of these traditions. These are things that men actually put in place to either control the actions and efforts of women. They said, well, women, for a long period of time, women were not the dominating people in what they call the spiritual world. Men, and then they came back and instructed their women on what it what would be. Okay. Now it's a little different. There are more women involved in churches, temples, and mosques than ever before. Women are are everywhere, you know, uh, and sometimes it can be a problem for some men because some men are very traditional, uh, and those traditions are based on what they were taught,
Yeah, and
and
one of the things men are taught for women to be quiet in the church. Don't say anything. Ask your husband, because I saw that in the Bible. If you want to know something, ask your husband. But then I be looking around the church sometime. I'm going, if the women don't get up and teach the Bible and stuff like that, we be lost because it ain't a whole lot of men going to church. You know,
right. Well,
and then some men will actually protest and have a stone fit if a woman get up in the pulpit. Women can do the
right,
job just as well as men. Women can do a lot of stuff just as well as men, if not better sometimes. But then they'll tell the woman,
right.
stay in your place. Exactly what is her place? That stuff be ticking me off. Stay in your
Okay,
place. And there are jobs. I'm gonna tell you, I was. It's all about respecting a woman. It's
okay,
respecting them because I had a job as a supervisor, right? And all of
right.
them were guys, and those guys had a hard time following my instruction simply because I was a
Oh,
woman.
mm,
They can do what the other man say do, but with me, they have a problem with it, and that's not cool at all. No, we don't have a problem following a man. If he's my supervisor, I have no problem in doing that. I don't have a problem with
right,
women's supervision, but men do.
right.
They have that
Well,
problem.
yeah, you reminded me in the military. I was in the Navy when they first started to bring women on board ships. They did that around '83, around around the Reagan years. Because in order to strengthen and build up the military, because they had ended the draft, women were starting to come into the military. Well, when women started to come into the military, because men and their traditions, uh, they didn't know how to handle women coming in. Women weren't coming in to be, uh, you know, less than men. And then some men could not handle, women would come in. Now, some women, the clerical jobs that came in and did those, guys felt that they had an added advantage because they said they can type, they're going to take all those typing jobs. But when women came in and became uh, in some of the other rates, like whether it be a lot of the things that they did at first, cooks, storekeepers, clerical. They opened that up, and the women were there. But when they opened it up to women, so they could be in the boiler rooms, when they can be in the deck department, the technical departments, the weapons department, a lot of the guys just couldn't mentally deal with them. They would try to sabotage women. Some items that men needed help lifting, they would just act like they would just wouldn't even help them. And they get upset or mad if you help the woman, you know. And this was, well, amongst black and white men and their treatment of women when they first entered the military, just from my experience. So a lot of times it's like a club. Uh, and growing up where in a way that I did, uh, I was raised by women. My mother, my grandmother, my granddaddy, who was the male figure there. He wasn't a submissive guy, but they always would follow what he put out. But they were making decisions on certain things. They didn't have to wait until he came home. He would be the final authority on a lot of different things, but
Right.
at the same time, there was a hierarchy. My grandmother, my mother, they were able to hold things down, and he wouldn't be like, y'all can't do this because y'all women. So I didn't grow up in that type of environment. So it wasn't as hard. Plus, my mother worked in an environment where it was all men,
Mm-hmm.
and guys would try to leave heavy loads for her to have to pick up, all this type stuff. These were little dumb things men would do to try to drive the women out of the workplace. Childish
Mm-hmm.
things. And you look at you fast forward that up to today. Many of the things that men try to put in place to either hinder or slow down the forward movement of women. I had a lady. She had no problems. Actually, she was married, and they didn't want what they call a corporate ladder. They didn't see how she could climb the corporate ladder because she had a baby. Now there was plenty of men that had babies as well. They didn't bring them into
Mm-hmm.
the world, but nobody looked at them differently because John's got a baby coming. The men embraced this. Oh, John's got a baby. Little wife's got a baby. Yada yada yada. When the woman became pregnant by her husband, they was immediately saying, "Well, she's not going to be able to do the job." All those type things. And then especially when women started getting time off pay for having children, a lot of men uh, just were not prepared to have that or deal with that. So we're starting to move forward, and I think as men, the relationship between men and women, as we start to look at things differently, we start to embrace it differently because
Yeah.
women are everywhere. Even when you look at astronauts, there women couldn't be astronauts. Women couldn't be uh, they could get no higher than a certain position in the military because there was a ceiling. Now we got women generals, women admirals, all around. So women are making a mark, and that mark won't be pushed back.
Right. Yeah. Women, they are stepping up, but you still have those people who don't want women to do it. And another thing is, some women, they're like they're treated like meat machine, like a piece of meat. Let me say it like that. A lot of women are treated like a piece of meat. It's like, you give me this, you can do this or that. Like, women have been approached by their bosses. You have sex with me or you lose your job. They're forced, and sometimes women give in because they have children. It might be a single parent, and that's the only job she have, and she forced to do that to keep her job, and that's not right. It's not right. A
Right,
lot of women are like that. And like when I had that incident happen to me when I was in school, and this guy approached me and he made some kind of remark, and I said, "You're a die in hell trying." Guess what? I lost my job because I wasn't going
well,
for it. Yeah, I lost my job because I wasn't going to submit to his trash you know.
mm,
But some women go through that kind of stuff, and they do it all the time. I have been pinned up in the break room by a coworker. I'm
wow,
up there fussing, tackling and stuff and getting them off. Lost total respect for them. Total respect. Because I don't treat myself like that. I don't carry myself in a way where you can attack me. I'm always an upright, standard person. Always. I don't flirt with anybody or none of that kind of stuff. But this guy, he had a crush on me or something, an attraction, and he found me in the break room, and he gonna make his move. and women go through that stuff all the time, all the time. Women, all the time. And then if they don't give in, then there's retaliation. Shoot, there's retaliation when a woman get tired of a man and break up with him. He gonna beat her up.
Right.
He gonna beat her up because she don't want him anymore. Had you done what you were supposed to do, then you wouldn't have a problem. But no, he gonna do what he wants, and she's tired, and she gonna leave him, and then he gonna beat her up. If I can't have you, nobody gonna have you. And there are more women killed by men than men are killed by women. Men are always killing women because they can't have their way with them.
You got to get your numbers up.
Yeah. Yeah, you do.
Hey, we said that earlier when the rabbit got a gun, nobody wants to go hunting. One of the things when women start to fight back, and this is what's happening now. The reason there's such a backlash of so much is because women are starting to assert themselves. Recently, Judge Hatchett, a judge, has reached a high pinnacle in life, and yet there's a sheriff that just figured he could just grab her by the back of her behind just because she's a woman. Well, that's an ongoing case. But these are things that men do. Like you say, like for instance, me, I always try to value and respect ladies, but some guys can't handle women in the workplace. Well, they get better. When they see a woman, they can't think of nothing else to do with her but get her back in the bedroom. That's it. I mean, if most guys, and you know what, this is not recent. Believe it or not, if you were able to go into the pyramids, and the pyramids are thousands of years old, they have drawings of men, the worker men, fantasizing about the Egyptian queens, Cleopatra, all of them. So men, no matter what level a man is in the behavior, he's been groomed to believe that women are just there for his enjoyment. Okay, and I know women are shaking that away. And when you think about modern day women, you have to look at what women are doing today, because guys are saying, well, I value my mom or grandma, but these ladies, the day drummer, they taking it to you. You got ladies like Megan Thee Stallion. This, women are bragging about how many guys they done got with. How they control men's pocketbooks. So now some of the older women are saying, oh man, they done took us back. We had just got to the level where men started to respect women a little bit closer like women. You go to a job and the man, they were, I've had many women supervisors, and nobody's at the job thinking about having sex with her. You know what I'm saying? But some women, because of this new generation of women that don't hold certain values, that have compromised the work that women have put in to be looked at as equal. It's kind of like black folk, when the black people say, well, we did all this work and they still using the N word. They're doing everything they can to bring us back down. Not the people that we were going up against. It's within our own culture. So some women are looking at within the culture of women, you got women doing what men do.
Yeah. Yeah, you do.
You got. I was a union rep, and there was a brother, and the man was he filed a sexual harassment charge. Now, did I think it was bogus? Because I said, man, how can you file a sexual harassment charge against a woman? But as we heard the case, this was a married man that the lady was was aggressively pursuing him, and he had a wife. So he filed agreements. Now all the guys was like, man, we gonna kick this out. We gonna throw this out. So they didn't even look at it on the first level. Cause you just how guys look at stuff. Man, you can't get sexual harassment. What are you talking about? Man, you don't get that mess out of here. But this guy was very sensitive, and he filed it because he said, I forgot all the stuff, the details, but he was a married guy, and the lady at work, uh, he said made a pass at him, and the guys were laughing at him. He felt he was embarrassed, but uh, I've seen men do it more now, because when you open the door for everybody, and there are men. uh Guy filed uh a work related incident where he said the woman wasn't carrying her load. Just like white people will file a counter affirmative action. They say, well, you know what, you're discriminating against me.
Mm-hmm.
So in the workplace, men started to file grievances against women for not being able to do certain things. They say she comes in here with a dress on, and how can she pick up boxes? So men were doing counterproductive things, and some women in the workforce were doing counterproductive things. One of the things I remember in the military, there was maybe 3 or 4 different type women. You had the woman that was coming in that just wanted to work. Okay, she just wanted to work. And then you had the woman that was coming in that was saying, "I'm here, but I'm still a woman. I'm not picking up these boxes. I'm not lifting nothing heavy." You had that type woman. You had the woman that came into the workforce that said, "I'm gonna be one of the guys." Okay, you could, in the military, people tend to use bad language, and I worked around all of these type women. The woman that just wanted to come and do a job. The woman that
Yeah.
came in didn't want to do nothing. The woman that came in and wanted to be with the boys. You could say the B word. She actually cussed more than the guy.
Mm.
Okay, so
Yeah.
with men, it was hard for men to get out of the mindset because they were trying to treat all women the same. But every woman was different in the workplace. Like I said, you had a woman that was just there to work. You had a woman that was there. She coming not to work. She gonna use her feminine traits not to work. Now, then you had the woman that said, "I'm with the boys. You can curse. We can drink some beer. Yada yada yada. Boom boom boom." And then so you had it's very complex once the woman was introduced into the workforce. Even in the ministry, you had women as ministers. And these guys, they take the oath of God. I don't care who they are: Islam, Catholic, Jewish, uh, Christian. The women come in and they just want to be a preacher or evangelist, and the guy look at them as like, well, as a mistress or something like that. I had a woman that was an evangelist. She said, "Grandma, I had to get out of the pulpit." She said, "I went to churches where men didn't want me to be in the pulpit. And then I went to churches, mosques, and different things where men wanted me to be in the pulpit, but they wanted me also to be in the bedroom."
Mm.
So
Yeah.
these are the things that women are constantly being faced with, and every woman handles it differently. Because when I was in the military, so many we call them grievances that was foul and complaints of men against women and women against men. And
Yep.
all of it was about not understanding and respecting the behavior of them
Yeah.
as an
That,
individual.
that is a lot of it. And sometimes, I've seen times where somebody was watching me interact with somebody, and they'll say he was flirting with you. I'm going, no, he wasn't. Yes, he was. I know a flirt. I didn't think anything about it, But then, sometimes it's an interpretation. The actions are misinterpreted. But then I had a man one time who was cheating on his wife. And I'm
Mm.
going, why you do that? Because she let me. You know, he had a
Mm.
baby by another woman outside of the marriage. She forgave him, and he's still doing it. I'm going, why you going to treat her like that? Why you keep on doing that? He said, I just got to go out. I ain't going to leave my wife, but I just got to go out there and do this. You know, that don't make sense to me. You know, why you going to continue to
Well,
hurt your wife over and over again? That don't make sense. You know, but he got to do it. You know,
uh,
and
well,
expect him
a
to
lot of
forgive it.
a lot of things go back to what we've been taught, what we've been around. When you look at abuse in relationships, uh, I had my son was going through some situations, him and his girlfriend at the time, and I had to really look at certain things because uh, it's hard to be neutral when you got a vested interest who's my son. But
Uh-huh.
we had a conversation and one of the situations came up where I thought he was putting hands on his girlfriend. And I said, I was like, how do you get that? Where do you get this from? This type behavior. But it was something else that was going on. And the in that case, the lady was making complaints, and time the police came, it was automatic given that the male was the one being the aggressor. Okay. Now,
Mm-hmm.
in today's world, there are women that are very aggressive. Uh,
Yes, they
I've
are.
seen, I've seen a woman just slap a guy, and I've been blessed. I've never been in those type relationships growing up or nothing. But today's world with the equality thing, there are some women, and I'm not talking about big women. That girl, she was about a little woman. She slapped this guy. I was like, oh man. And he was able to restrain himself. But then I also have seen altercations between men and women, and uh, you know, there's a different position because of how you was raised, what you believe. Some guys believe if you're gonna push them or shove them, it's gonna be the same, equal, or greater force. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, even though I said that uh, when nobody wants to go hunting when they know the rabbit's got a gun, uh, I've known two women in my life that killed either their husband or their boyfriend. Okay, and had a conversation with them, and I was like, their intent was not to do that, but he was an abuser. And I've had a couple of guys that I know personally that died at the hand of women. Okay, I remember a brother. He was married to a Filipino woman, and she stabbed him to death. Uh, and he didn't appear to be an abuser, but uh, he was. And it's hard for men to look at other men and not see them as an abuser. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because we say, well, that's Drummer. I know Drummer. Drummer's a good guy. Drum's always smiling and stuff like that. But you don't know how and what my behavior is with women in my family circle. So
And behind
you
closed
don't know.
doors.
So there's a tendency for men to cover for other men, like you said earlier in the military. In that movie, and that's based on a true story. The general's daughter, she was raped. Matter of fact, recently there was 3 incidents back in Afghanistan, and they still haven't resolved some of them. Many women were attacked, raped, not by Afghanistan's, but by American soldiers. But because of the political climate, it was covered up, and some women are considered troublemakers. But I mean, now you got to think these everybody got on the same uniform. Some of the ladies got their hair cut looking like guys, and these women were still assaulted. You know what I'm saying? They
Mm-hmm.
didn't have nightgowns and uh 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 flirtatious type apparel. They were just in a pit with animals, which was other soldiers that they thought would protect them, but because they had mental issues that moved and motivated their sexual drive, they attacked and raped women. Okay, in the
Yep.
military. Now, just to show you how the military is. Military considers that's destruction of government property
Mm-hmm.
because the military says we own you while you're in the military. So when somebody rapes somebody or takes advantage of somebody, I mean, in the military, believe it or not, you got robberies, just people, murders, all this happens in the military. But now they'll treat they're people that get robbed in the military by other military guys, but they treat rape a lot different than they do these crimes. Now,
Mm.
now I have to bring this up. And I thought about it. I was recently looking at something about Emmett Till. Emmett Till's biological daddy was hanged for raping a woman.
Yeah, but that's what they said he did. But did he
He said,
really
but
do it?
you don't know did he do it. But what I'm saying now, now think about that. Now that was a black man that was hanged for raping a woman that in another woman. Now today, fast forward, because the military they don't do stuff like the prosecution of people that violate women in the military is minimum.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and see,
Okay.
and that's the problem, because women are raped all the time, sexually assaulted all the time, and nothing is done about it. They might say, well, we're gonna write them up, or we'll talk to them,
Yeah.
or whatever. Are you sure it was rape? Did you did you start this and decide not to? You know, all of this stuff, they don't give the women the benefit of doubt. I mean,
Yeah.
they
Well,
it's
it,
I
it
mean,
and
it's
again,
basically on the woman. You caused it. That's basically what it is. You caused it. Why did he do this? There's no reason for this man to rape you. You know,
mhm,
married men even rape women, and they say he's married. There's no reason for him to do this to you. You know, but they
mm,
do. They do all the time, and they get away with it all the
right.
time.
Well,
And a lot of the
well,
rapes that happen with women are not reported, you know, because they might
right.
say, I caused it, you know, or they shame, they don't want nobody to know about it. But then
Well,
what if now with the law, if the woman get raped, what if she get pregnant? Now she's forced to have the baby, you know,
right,
if it's gone through already, you know, and
right.
that's not right. Women is they're just being treated wrong, and women are
Well,
mistreated all the time, even in school, on their job, everywhere. Even in when
well,
I was playing basketball in high school, junior high, you know,
okay.
if I wasn't one of those girls who would hang around the coach, guess what? I
Okay.
wasn't one to be picked for the team either. But those girls who
Well,
hung around the coach and hugged on him and all that kind of stuff, those were the team players. I wasn't doing that, you
right.
know.
Well,
So,
it's and it's sad. It's a man's world. You look at when you look at uh when we talk about abortion, uh, and I look at, and this is going back to my military days, when women, and usually young girls, 17, 18, 19 years old, first time they got off the ship, a lot of times they would be attacked. Okay, not by people in the area that we went, but by people on the ship. Okay,
mm-hmm,
uh, whether it be alcohol, and women when they go to college. I remember women, where the University of Georgia, uh, any college, a woman is exposed, a young woman is exposed to whether it be the football players, fraternities, anytime they go out parties and things like that, guys believe that they just have a position to conquer these women, and a lot of women, and not just put it out like this, but a lot of in the whether it be these are big colleges, Alabama, Georgia, University of Georgia, they said they found more babies in the dumpsters. Now these babies didn't pop into these young girls. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
These babies were created from either older guys who might be 21, 22 years old, and got with these girls, and they really don't care because girls, she feel she's away from home, she's learning the environment. Now some of them may have had sex willingly, but a lot of them, if they went to a party, even though they just went to the party just to come back home and go in it the same way a guy would, they got sexually assaulted. And then the
Mm-hmm.
memo was out that if I went home and told my mom, I had women, young women, that did not even know they was pregnant. You know, and people have a tendency to say women are more promiscuous, whatever, whatever. But when it comes down to men, what do they say? Boys will be boys. Boys will
Mm-hmm.
be boys. But
Yeah, and that's the stuff that really ticks me off. And a lot of times, women, they are emotional, right? So they see a guy and they like the guy, and the guy pretend that he likes her. Sometimes
mhm,
he would coerce her into having sex with him, and then once he get it,
yeah,
he's gone. You
yeah. And
know.
then some of these guys bring the team on board. You got some guys now
Hmm.
that bring other folk on board. Other guys, I got up here, come on, frat, come on, uh, other football player, other basketball player, and these girls, and it doesn't affect us until you got a daughter as a male, a daughter, a niece, or somebody in your family that you care about. When
Hmm.
you start to see that, men start to care more, because if it's your daughter, as a male, if it's my daughter, my granddaughter, my niece, somebody, I'm starting to think differently because uh, I had a niece that was kidnapped and she was gone for a whole year.
Mm.
Now, prior to her, you know, and I consider myself a pretty decent person, but going to a strip club or something like that. But a lot of things after that, I was not interested in frequenting those places because I saw some of the things they were doing. I was actually at a strip club one time, and there was a white gentleman who was a doctor. He was a doctor right here in Atlanta. His daughter, 15 years old, 16, 15, 16 years old, he had to buy her off the pole. Okay.
What?
And what I mean by that is this his daughter. He just couldn't come up and say, come off the pole. He had to put some money to get her out of the club. Now, he became more involved as an advocate for young women and young women's rights. But look what it took. The average male, it doesn't affect them until but I cared before my niece, you know, if it just it's certain things. It reminds me what's the Supreme Court Kavanaugh, the Supreme Court guy that came out of Alabama. He was 23 years old having sex with 15-year-olds. He's a Supreme Court justice right now.
Yeah.
Kavanaugh out of Alabama, and I always remember the women who was older white women. They say, these older white women. This just show you how their minds had been pushed. They say, it's nothing for a young woman to want to get a nice bowl. And this man, 22 and 23 years old, having sex with 15-year-olds, and they didn't
See,
think nothing of it.
I would. It's like, no, 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 no. I wouldn't want that to happen with my daughter or my nieces and
Mhm.
nephews. No, I wouldn't want that. Cause it's a child. He has all that maturity over her. He could easily manipulate her. She's under his spell. She wouldn't have any
Yeah,
control over her mind at that age. Whatever he'd
yeah.
say, that's what she go with. You know, they no, they do that. They do that, and so men, I don't know. I get so frustrated now, and just hearing some of this stuff, and and they think women are just sex objects. That's the way
Right.
we're. Have you
Well,
ever been to a bathroom? I've been in a bathroom, no, in a strange place, in a bathroom, bunch of women in there, and guess what they're talking about? How they sick and tired of their mans who always want to hump on them. All these women in there,
mm,
they tired. They don't want that all the time. But that's all men care
right.
about. You know? Just what they can do with that, what they can get out of her. And then a lot of them don't even want to open the door for you. And that's a bad
Mm,
thing. If
right.
you're gonna be my mate, I want you to open the door for me. You're gonna show me that you care. And you're gonna act like you care. Or otherwise the door is closed.
Well, I
Catch it
think,
closed.
yeah. Well, I think women issues, and there's still men that can't. Like I said, you got different type women. You like you got women that even you know look and behave like men. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, a lot of men. I remember this girl. She had no. It was a good lady. Uh, she had no. Uh, uh, she had no reasoning for getting with a male man. But men, and this just comes from some type of behavior in men. Men say, "Well, if she get with me, she ain't gonna be a lesbian," you know. And this, she filed a rape charge against him because the brother, I mean, this is sad on men. He believed that it was his duty to help her turn back to a regular woman, so he attacked her. Okay, uh, and so a lot of men not know until men have daughters, and then some of them ain't all the way up because men have had incest with their daughters and stuff like that. But when men start
Exactly.
to have when they started having daughters, they will look at stuff differently because when your daughter, your niece, or somebody comes back and asks you, even just like I have nieces that ask me, well, and I have to think about my behavior, and I have to think about what's going on now. They say, well, uncle, you think this guy likes me? And then some guys, I've had to put it out to some of my nieces. I said, well, this guy here, he's trash. I don't see him as a valuable male. Might look good, all this type stuff, but you know, to have somebody that's gonna care for you, look out for you, he ain't the one. Uh, and I think as a male, we have to, uh, not just assert our position to be dominant over a woman, but we have to look at what can we do to improve, male female relationships because it's really complex. For young women coming up today, it's very complex. You got guys that are immature that say, well, all the women out here, they're trying to be like Megan Thee Stallion. So you might have a girl that's a real nice girl, real quiet, focus on trying to come up, and she can get attacked by a man, a young man that's immature, tell her he loves her and all this type stuff, and he can't wait to kick her to the curb. I mean, that
Yeah.
becomes a man thing. And when you and then that also brings up a situation where women have a toxic relationship because so many women have been abused at so many young ages, whether it's by family members, brothers, sisters. It's some sisters abusing them as well, but it's more
Mm-hmm.
men abusing the ladies in their family. So by the time they get into a relationship, they already scarred.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Because some of those women who appear to be promiscuous, that that's pain that they are releasing. Because they've
Right,
already been abused and they don't know nothing else to do. They don't know how to act because they've been
right,
abused over and over again, and nothing was done about it. They weren't protected because I know there are times when women of girls being raped and molested by their mom's boyfriend or stepdads or something like that, and they tell their mom don't believe it. And the stepfather gonna say she's lying. And the woman, she wants that man, so she gonna let it happen. And these
right.
girls that get abused and so what they gonna do? Go wild, cause their mind is messed up. And I've seen
Right.
women who been in several relationships with men, and and it was so bad they turned to women. They get a better relationship with women. I mean, that's because men did
Well,
them like that. And I've seen women whose self-esteem is so low. I know there's one lady who was a dear friend of mine. She was so pretty, had everything going for her, but she had such a low self-esteem because that man told her that she was ugly and nobody wanted her, and he would abuse her and he would take her money, and I was furious. But I can only support her. When he left, uh, she would wake up and he's standing over her in the bed. He done came in the house and he's supposed to be gone. So I went over there and changed the locks for her. So he won't be
well,
coming in her house and scaring her like that. He was an abusive person. And
yeah.
people around think he's the nicest person, but he was very abusive.
I know we close it out, but some of the most abusers are people within the religious sect. I don't care who they are, Christian, Catholics. You got Catholics that's abusing the nuns. You said, well, nuns ain't supposed to be having sex. Well, somebody getting them. Some of these people are taking advantage of them in different communities. People think it's their God-given right to abuse or control the actions and efforts of women. So, but there's hope, and I think women are moving forward in that direction. Uh, and I encourage women to keep the fight. You got to do it on all fronts. Uh, you know, uh, like I say, it's a double-edged sword with a black woman because she's a woman, and plus she's black. You got double things. People
Mm-hmm.
get upset because a woman express what she wants in the workplace. They call all kind of names. Uh, so it's a lot of work, but I see the needle being moved forward, and I relationships aren't where I think they should be, but I think we're getting better towards relationship between men and women.
Yeah, yeah. It got to get better, and more women now are trying to be entrepreneurs and trying to get themselves together and not totally dependent on man. Because when you're totally dependent on man, you up the creek. I'm gonna be honest.
Ooh,
And
yeah,
I don't think I would ever do that. Be totally
right.
dependent. No, I don't think I would ever do that. So women out there, hold your heads up. And if you're in abusive relationships, try to get out of it. And don't be afraid to tell somebody, because somebody can help you if you want to escape. And sometimes men, they say, if you leave me, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill your mama and all that kind of stuff. Get help. Okay. Don't let those fears overtake you and make you stay in those relationships. And I know they doing this thing with abortions. So if you're in a relationship, and I ain't gonna say go ahead and get the abortion, but if you're in a relationship and you're trying to leave, bringing a baby in, it's gonna make it worse and make it harder for you to leave. And that's what I need those men to understand, that who's trying to make you have these babies. It's gonna be
Mhm.
hard. So stand tall, get help. Okay, don't let them just. You could be shaking in the knees, okay, about to melt away, but stand tall, okay, and let them know that you have some strength. Okay, you just can't do it, okay, and have some pride about yourself because a lot of men they have to use you. That's all they want because you're just a piece of meat. That's to
Mm.
be honest. That's what for a lot of men. That's what they think. A piece of meat. They get this one and this one and this one. Because I've heard these guys. I've got this person. Have you got her? No, I ain't got it yet. They talking about it and they will lie on you. And another thing, audience, men will lie. Boys will lie. They'll say they got you when they know they didn't, and they have everybody else trying to get you you know, and then they call you a slut, and you didn't do anything. They would do that. So hold your head up and know that who you are. Okay, there are some people who know that you are who you are. Okay, but hold your head up, and if somebody abuse you, report it. Okay. So don't let them say you will lose or you ask for it because you don't ask to be raped. You don't ask to be violated. That's something they choose to do on their own. They choose that, not you. So if you don't want it, you don't have to take it. Okay? Report it, lock those suckers up. You ask me, everybody who rape people, I think they should be castrated. You ask me.
Oh,
That's the way I look at it. You take something from me, I'm gonna take something from you. That's the way I look at it. So until then, we're going to see you next week. Hold your head up and know that you control your destiny. Okay? Y'all have a good evening.